What do you mean no seating for games? Do you mean no fans?
Empty seats.
Oh, okay, got it.
They shall not sit.
Welcome to episode 134 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, and I am here with my two brothers to talk about what's happening in American and European soccer. Christian, hello, how are you doing today?
Oh, hey. Hey, Dave. I'm doing great. I just had my second group game of the Unity Cup, and we won 4-3. What a thriller that was. I made a save in added time that gave us the win, which means we advance in the group because we are tied on 6 points with the other team that's leading, and we play them in the last game. So, knockout stages, here we come.
Nice, awesome. Which country do you are you part of?
Well, I celebrate the United States.
Okay,
but
good.
I am playing for England in this Unity Cup.
Okay, so my theatrics in the video. So E, how would you do an N? N, and then like G?
This
right?
is definitely not an
kind of like, all right, so people who are watching the YouTube video are getting that extra content there. Matthew, hello, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, David. I don't think I have anything eventful to report. I beat Dave in our video game earlier, so that's the only thing.
Yeah, I was not happy about that. I was the Mongolians. Christian.
Damn you, Mongolians.
Yeah, Matt was the French, and I was dilly-dallying a little bit too much in our Civ Rev game. Listeners, I'm back on the West Coast, and I have my special mic, not special mic, but my good mic. So as Iggy Azalea would say, I'm in your ears, and hopefully I'm sounding a lot better than I have the past few podcasts. Christian. Before we do that, we're a part of the Big Heads Media Network. Go to Big Heads Media for a ton of podcasting content. Christian, over to you for a trivia question.
Well, first of all, I want to say, you know what, I'm just going to let it go. And just forget it. We're going to come back to that later. But, okay. So the trivia question.
Teaser there.
I was just going to say, or were you davy-dallying, but it's already passed. It's too late. It's already gone. So my question, it's been a while since I did a Liverpool one. So I was like, you know what? Let's throw it back. So can you name how many goals and assists combined Salah has in his 108 games played so far for Liverpool?
All right. We will think on that and give our guesses. Matthew is
frozen, or is he just
frozen?
Can you hear me?
Okay. We can hear him. That's good. We cannot see him, but I guess we'll go over to Matt for Matt's Megs.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Viewers, I'm so disappointed you cannot see me right now. But listeners, hi, welcome to Matt's Megs. Here we will be talking about Liverpool and Man City, as we have been. Okay, am I still not being able to be seen? Because you guys are okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
can you see us?
Yeah, I can see you guys. Okay.
Can you see you?
Yeah, well, I can see my head tilted.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, that's what I see.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we see.
Okay, moving past that. All right, so this weekend, I'm going to start with this. Man City's got a little bit of stick in the media for supporting Leroy Sane before the game, where they all wore Leroy Sane, like number 19 jerseys to, I guess, like honor him.
For his great sacrifice?
Yeah. What do you make of teams doing this for injured players, or like when is this appropriate?
I don't know. This is probably appropriate if something severe happened and like their career was ruined. But I thought we got Matt back there for a second. But no, I feel like it's a little out of whack to be celebrating a person who is just injured for a few months. I mean, he'll probably miss the majority of this season, but it's not like he's gone forever and he's a really great talent. I think they're just trying to do whatever it takes, especially because he was thinking about leaving. Maybe they're just trying to be like, hey, no, we support you. Please don't leave us because you're great. But I don't think in this scenario specifically it was needed.
Okay. Dave?
Didn't they do this with Gundogan a couple of years ago?
2 years ago in his first season, he tore his ACL and same thing.
Gundogan.
Yeah, I just let that slide.
What?
Ilkay Gundogan?
Yeah, what did I say?
You said Gundogan.
Gundogan? Okay, Gundogan. Is that better, Christian?
Yeah.
Pronunciation police over there?
Please.
Yeah, so I don't know. You see this sometimes in other sports. I feel like this is happening like basketball and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're just trying to show support for their teammate. I think it's a little bit odd. I get it. I don't think I would do it, but it's a serious injury, and I think it's nice to know that they're supporting him. But I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit over the top for me.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you both. So just being like the injury he has and it being kind of common at this tearing ACL, it's horrible. It's a horrific injury, but it's not like this is a crazy freak incident where, I don't even want to say, but like, it's nothing too severe, like affecting him going forward and like affecting his life too much. I know it's going to affect his career if he doesn't bounce back, but it's not like a major life halt, I would say. I don't know.
Well, I think it is a major life halt, but it's not like he lost a limb. It's not like I don't know.
I didn't know what I was like allowed to say or what I was going for. I was like,
you can say whatever you want.
I was like, I don't know where I'm going.
Major life halt.
Yeah. So it's just like, Dave, keep going.
Yeah, it's not like his career is over. This is a serious injury, and it could alter his career, but his career is not over from this. And I'm sure he'll bounce back in some way. Christian, you touched on this in the past. When Torres had his injury, he never really was the same. So there are serious ramifications from this. But the wearing of the jerseys and almost eulogizing him, like as if he passed away or his career was over, is just a bit much with the shirts. So that's where I stand.
Okay, I'm in agreement. Okay. I think anybody have anything else to add?
The only thing I can remember is when Liverpool did this for Suarez when he got his ban, and that was just ridiculous. I think that one was way out of line to probably do.
Yes.
This one's probably a little better.
Yeah.
Not even in the same ballpark. Yes.
I don't even know who thought that was a good idea at Liverpool. Like, was that from the management? Was that from the captain? Was it from
definitely like ownership? Making that decision.
The manager? I don't know. Why would the owner be involved?
Because they had to buy the shirts.
I don't think the owner was involved in that decision. I would say it was probably the players and or manager at the time.
All right. Anything else you guys want to add?
No.
All right. So right before we started, I said I wasn't going to talk about this, and then they friggin' brought it up. But the City game this weekend against Spurs, VAR again showed its agenda against Man City to try and topple them, which, it's worked in the Champions League and now in the Premier League. It's just so frustrating how there's such, like, I don't know how long I'm going to rant about this, but it's like such a minor call. I know in the Champions League he was offsides, Sterling. I'm not arguing that he wasn't offsides in the Champions League last year. But this year, if it hits both their players' arms, like, I don't understand. Like, it didn't affect – I don't know. I don't think it affected the game. Dave, what do you think about this VAR decision, about the handball?
The new rule that went into place in June was that if a ball hits the attacker's hand at any point in the attacking phase and a goal happens, it's a foul now. And so this is pretty clear cut based on the new rule. I'm not saying that I agree with the new rule, but it was the right implementation based on what happened. So as frustrated as I am with that rule being in place, as frustrated as I am with VAR in general, I think it should only be for clear and obvious errors. At the end of the day, this was a clear and obvious error. It hit the guy's hand and then they scored. So based on the new rule, I guess it was the right implementation. But I'm not a big VAR fan in general.
Christian?
I'm not mad about it, if that's what you're asking, but I think that this was a little bit harsh. I saw I was watching the Espanyol versus Sevilla game today, which I want to address as La Liga is like watching a whole different sport than watching the Premier League. It is so weird how different league to league the game is played. But back to the main topic. In that game, they did a VAR check for a handball that the referee reviewed it. His hand was in the air. It bounced off his leg, off his arm, and the referee called it. And VAR overturned it, which I don't really understand because that doesn't seem a clear and obvious error because it still did strike his hand. But I guess it's just league to league. It's a different rule.
Did they score?
What? No, they didn't score. They gave a penalty for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the referee called a penalty. They review it, and they overturned it, even though it clearly bounced off his leg, hit him up here, which I just don't understand why that isn't given, because it's not clear and obvious. I would understand if they didn't give it and VAR was checking it, but the fact that they gave it and overturned it makes no sense to me. In this regard, yeah, it's written in the rules. So unfortunately for City, that's how it is. If it strikes a player's hand and then as a result the play goes on to score a goal, yeah, it gets overturned. And that's really frustrating, especially when it's incidental, like it was, and it barely touched him. But that is the written rule, and that's how it's going to be officiated, and at least we know that now.
Oh, yeah, but if we're going clear and obvious, why are they not calling it when Lamela tackles Rodri in the box in the first? I thought that like they made a point with saying like they're going to be tighter on corners, and then they just let that one go. VAR was just so frustrating the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think VAR is doing a great job.
Yeah.
So I didn't see the tackle there, but so this was clear and obvious, Matt. Like, right?
Yeah.
It hits what's his name's arm.
No, well, I wouldn't say it's clear
right?
and obvious because it wasn't clear. Like, I mean, they review every goal, but it hit the Tottenham defender's arm too at the same time.
But it doesn't matter.
Why doesn't it matter? Why isn't it a tie? Like,
the rule is if it strikes a player's hand and then on the team that scores,
it
will be overturned.
Yeah. So again, I didn't see the Rodri tackle or whatever, so I can't really say that. So, but specifically for the Laporte thing, I mean, it was clear and obvious based on the way that the new rule is. I'm saying I disagree with the way that the rule is, but it was the right implementation of VAR. As frustrating as that is.
I guess we're just gonna have to agree to disagree.
You sound excited.
I'm so upset right now. Anything else you guys want to add?
No.
Does it really frustrate you, this new drop ball rule? Because it's really annoying to me.
No.
I hate it.
Rule.
There is no more drop balls, right? It's just one team just gets the possession.
Yeah. Well, specifically the drop ball for hitting the referee is the worst thing in the world. That is so annoying to me.
I like that.
That's so annoying. No,
it's
the
only a
drop part of the game. If it hits him, it just continues live.
No,
that's how it should be.
It is if the team retains possession. If it hits the referee and the other team gets possession, I agree with it. Should be a drop ball on the team that had it.
Nope.
I'm actually fine with that.
Part of the game.
I actually like that one too.
Which one, Matt? Whose side are you on?
I'm on Dave's side because it just makes the game more free flow. Like it's like when you're playing pickup.
How does it make it free flowing? It stops the game.
It's the opposite of free flowing.
But it's like
it's fair. I think
that's what I mean.
It's
like
not fair.
Yes, it is. How is it not fair?
Well, it's not extra fair. Like, it's regular either way. It's fair irregardless of this.
It's not extra fair. What the hell does that mean? It's fair. If a team has possession and they hit a referee who is supposed to be a part of the field or something like that, and it changes the possession, I think it makes sense for the team to keep the ball.
If you hit a divot on the field and it goes a different direction, so it's the same fucking thing.
Well, actually, if it hits a dog, which we learn in ref class, if a dog runs on the field,
it's a real thing that we learn in ref class. I'm serious. That is,
what happens?
It's a drop ball.
But
so there are no more drop balls.
Yeah,
the referee is.
Yeah. No. So okay.
Dogs are very much part of the game.
Yeah.
Dave, what are you saying?
I have nothing else to add.
I think that's a good place. Dogs are very much part of the game. All right. So Christian wanted to address this Liverpool topic, where Liverpool have been off to pretty slow starts, I would say, and just like typical with their tactics coming out in the first half. I'll let Christian have the floor here. What do you think Klopp is doing wrong?
All right. Here I am on my podium. I can't for the life of me understand, because he is so good at game management when he's actually on the sideline and in the locker room at halftime. He knows exactly what adjustments to make. But going into games, it just seems like he's hugging too many people and not actually preparing for the other team. I don't understand what's going on, because we've seen it all last year as well. They have been almost sent out in every game to say, let's make sure we're 0-0 at halftime and we'll win this game in the second half. It's incredibly frustrating to watch because they really sit deep and are unable to create a lot of chances in first halves of games. Yeah, it's continuing to work, and I guess they're not going to change that unless it fails. But you watch teams like City score goals in the first 15 minutes and are up 3-0 half the time. Why are they not just going out, putting games away early, and then sitting back deeper? I don't understand the way Klopp's setting up his tactics for first halves of games.
Well, in his defense, I think he's trying to score early. I wouldn't say that I don't see too much of a difference in how they come out and how they play in the second half, other than them just like playing sharper, I would say. But I don't think they're playing defensively. I don't think they're starting games like that, or they're starting games without the ball, or without counterattacking. I think they play pretty similar throughout the whole thing. So I don't know if it's a Klopp thing, or if it's a player thing, or if it's just kind of luck.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me because Klopp's system is predicated on like chaos and pressing, and you would think that that would happen earlier. Now, it could also be that they just wear teams down, and then, hey, Matt's back. All right, people watching on YouTube, we have Matt live again. He's been frozen for the last 15 minutes. But it might just be, I don't know, I'm spitballing here, that maybe they wear teams down later on and they just tire them out, and then finally they're able to break through in the second half. But it also doesn't make sense to me either, Christian. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. I don't understand why it continues to happen, because 2 years ago under Klopp, they were just incredibly potent in the attack. Is that the year that they scored like 90 goals in the league? Like, they were incredible. They had like 5 goals in every single game, I feel like we were watching, but they were also conceding 2 or 3. Like, it was just absolute chaos defensively. I guess he just set up differently. Once they got Van Dijk in, they wanted to just make a solid base, and they aren't playing that gegenpress as much, at least from my point of view. I don't see it being as chaotic. They almost play just more solid defensively and then hope for counter. It's not the same that he was implementing at Dortmund and when he first came to Liverpool. He definitely has adjusted to a more defensive formation, in my opinion.
Well, do you think that's worse? Because, I mean, they did put up 97 points and win the Champions League last year with this kind of tactics.
They scored 89 goals. I was just pulling it up. I mean, they still scored a ton of goals last year.
I know, but it's like, I feel like they're waiting until the second half to score the majority of those goals. And sometimes they're down 1-0 at half. A lot of times it's 0-0. And specifically as a fan, it's like, I don't even know how to, like, watching paint dry in the first half sometimes. And it makes me want to put my head through a wall when it's 2-1 in the 89th minute, when there's no reason for it.
That's fair. I know I'm in agreement with you. I don't have an explanation for it, and it's definitely frustrating from as a fan.
Best hypothesis. Go.
Best hypothesis is what I said before. They come out, teams are energetic, they know how to play them early, and then as the game goes on, they wear down, and that's why they can do better in the second half. So that's my best hypothesis and best guess.
Okay.
Christian? Wait, best hypothesis for what?
Like, why they start slow.
For what we've been talking about the last 5 minutes.
I didn't know what specifically or what. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, my guess is that they know they're more fit than pretty much every other team. They go through a rigorous preseason, and Klopp demands a lot of them. And they play a midfield that's just engines. They don't really have a lot of creativity. So my guess is, yeah, it's just teams are able to pick them apart early on. And as they get tired, the spaces just close down, and Liverpool run the game late. And it's really annoying as a fan, especially when your goalkeeper's passing the ball to strikers to tap into the net.
Yeah.
Or throwing.
It's not great. Very good point. Yeah. Karius. Shout out Karius.
Yeah. Okay. So my best hypothesis is Van Dijk's too good at defense, so then they stop caring and they only score when they have to. So I'm blaming Van Dijk for this.
Oh.
Solid.
Anything else you guys would like
to add? Did you say Salah?
I said solid.
I got it.
Mo Salah. Anything else you would like to add?
Should we talk about how bad Salah is at free kicks? He might be the worst one on the planet. Like, he is just absolute garbage.
I don't know.
No. I mean, he's not the worst one on the planet.
Definitely not. But
free kicks are tough.
He's really bad. He's not scored one in his career, and he's bad.
Why is he taking him?
All you got to do is put it top bins.
Trent should take all of them. I don't know why Salah insists on taking them. Okay, we're done. I'm done.
Yeah, okay. I think that's the last word we want to have on this section. Thank you for listening to Matt's Megs. Listen to a little bit of music. We will be right back.
Check out our friends at Stadium Scene. If you're going to any stadium for any sport in the US or Canada, they have information on where to park around the stadium, what bars and restaurants to go to, what events are happening in the area, and all that good stuff. Matt, what else do they provide on that site?
Well, they also partner with content creators like ourselves and offer you things like blog posts, YouTube videos, podcasts like this show right here. And again, it's not just soccer. It's all sports, North America. Check them out at stadiumscene.tv. They're fantastic.
Hey everybody, welcome to Christian's Corner, where we have just the best time you can. I'm here with my hat, my Yards hat, really representing. Dave's there with a white Jeff cap. I think that's white.
More cream colored is what I'd say.
And I can't tell what color Matt's Jeff cap is, but
it's a dark green.
Is it a dark green?
Olive?
It's like a gray, fuzzy kind of guy.
It's a gray, fuzzy Jeff cap. Okay, well, in case you were wondering, we're wearing hats today. So check us out on YouTube if you want to get the video. All right, so I'm going to hop right in with two more serious topics and then one, just what the hell is going on there. So first of all, we're going to go to Honduras and talk about the 3 people that have been killed and 10 have been injured in the riots that were happening in, I think it was the Montagua, I can't pronounce that name, I'm sorry, and Olympia games this past Saturday. So a bus for the Montagua players was attacked with rocks, and then there was just a bunch of shit that went down. Just absolutely insane. I think there were guns involved, there were knives involved, people were injured. I cannot for the life of me understand what the hell is going on, but a child was injured in this. It's just ridiculous to me that all these broke out. The police had to use tear gas. The game was canceled. Dave, I'll go to you first. What has to happen for this to stop? What should the punishment be to these clubs? Should it be on the clubs? I don't know what the next steps is.
Yeah, so I can't say I'm too knowledgeable on the Honduran League or the geopolitical situation in Honduras, but this stuff shouldn't happen. I don't know what they could possibly do. I assume there are much more complex societal issues happening there, but this should never happen. When you go to a sporting event, it should be a release. It should be an escape from, all the other stuff, and you shouldn't have to worry about your safety. And so obviously this is exceptionally disappointing. I don't know a lot of the other stuff that was happening, and anyone watching on YouTube, all of our smiling and laughing had to do with Christian's attempted pronunciation of all of that. And so obviously this is a very serious issue, and I hope everybody is okay, and thoughts and prayers to all the families and people affected by this.
Yeah. Matt, what do you think has to be done for this to just be discouraged, or what punishment should be handed down?
Well, obviously, there's a lot of a police matter to be dealt with. I'm not sure how much is necessarily on the clubs, but there's got to be point penalties. I don't know if there's suspensions, like suspended games, no fans for however many months or games, or however they're going to delegate that, but some sort of combination of suspensions, fines, and probably no seating for games. I don't know the length. I don't know necessarily what would be appropriate. I mean, I would probably say for something like this, like to the end of the season, maybe.
What do you mean no seating for games? Do you mean no fans?
Empty seats.
Oh, okay, got it.
They shall not sit.
Yeah, it's like, what is that? What is that going to solve?
Yeah, but I think that might be sufficient.
Okay, in the article I was reading, it also mentioned that it's possible that Olympia and Montegua's sorry, I don't know if that's right. It might be wrong. It could be right. It's probably not right, but that's what I'm going to pronounce it as for the rest of this. So they're CONCACAF. They are in the CONCACAF Champions League for the round of 16, I guess, in next year. They're talking about possibly having no home matches for that, and they'd have to play 2 away matches or something like that just because of the unrest currently in Honduras. Do you think that's appropriate based off of what's happening here, Dave?
I think so. And Sal's chiming in here on YouTube. So Sal, thank you for providing a little bit more context. But yeah, there's some political and policing issues in Honduras. And so not much, unfortunately, can be done. So thank you for that information, Sal. I think, if you can't guarantee safety, you shouldn't be allowed to have home games, especially international competitions. And so it's only right that their home match would take place at a neutral venue or something like that where you can guarantee a team's safety. So yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Would you think that they have to play 2 away games at the same place, or one would just be at a neutral site?
I think one should be at a neutral site rather than 2 away games. Yeah, that's okay. What I say.
Matt, what do you think about them having to play either that away game or at a neutral site for their international Champions League matches?
I think it's a good idea. Like what Dave said, I think he just pretty much said it spot on.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, I think it would be fair if they had to play at a neutral site, and especially if they can't guarantee safety. Good job, Dave. Keep up the
Thanks.
work.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I think it makes the most sense to do that. Very good, Dave. Good job. That's enough of that, though. And I hope everyone is okay who was injured. I'm sorry to the families. My condolences, all of our condolences to all the families who were afflicted. And hopefully that there's some change soon and everything gets better, specifically with this soccer in Honduras, and everything that's going on with the unrest. All right. Anything else you want to add on this topic?
Nope.
All right. We'll move over to France in Ligue 2, which is the second division in France. I think, is it Nancy? I want to say that's how
Nancy.
it is spelled Nancy, but I think it's Nancy, and Le Mans might be the other one.
Those are better pronunciations than what we just had.
Okay, I've been working on my French. All right. So in that game this past weekend, the game was stopped in the 27th minute by the referee with Nancy up about 1-0 at the time. The stadium announcer announced that the game will be suspended and will not be played if the abusive chanting related to homophobic comments continued. A lot of people were commenting on this. The referee stopping the game, they're commending him a lot for that's just ridiculous. Matt, I'll start with you. Do you think it makes sense that the referee stopped the game and that they made a public comment? The game did eventually get played out. It didn't stop fully. They did stop the game, made the announcement. The chance got better. And it did not happen again, and the game got finished. Do you think that situation was handled correctly? Do you think the referee should not be stopping the game? Do you think the stadium handled the situation appropriately with the announcement?
Well, I think they did handle it correctly. I don't know what the referees are instructed to do. I mean, probably politically, we can say the referee did like a perfect job with how he kind of conducted that situation, how he handled it. And, I don't know if he's instructed, because we've seen these issues with like racial abuse chants in other countries. I can't think of any in France off the top of my head. So I won't say there, but I know just around Europe, this has happened. Everyone always kind of like, the outcry after is that the game should have been stopped, and I think that if it was going on in the stadium, he handled it correctly. I'm not sure if the referees association said you're supposed to play out the games regardless, and then they deal with it after. But politically, I think it was perfect.
Dave, how do you think the situation was handled?
Yeah, so Christian, you said it was ridiculous. Can you just clarify? What do you mean? What was ridiculous? That the referee stopped it?
No, the referee stopping it, I think, was the right call. I think that it was ridiculous that it came to that.
Okay, all right, yeah, because the way you framed it, it seemed like you thought it was ridiculous that the referee stopped it.
Words sometimes. I'm sorry.
No. I just wanted to make sure I understood where you were coming from. I mean, yeah, Matt hit the nail on the head. This was the right move from the referee. That stuff cannot be tolerated. Again, stadium should be a welcoming atmosphere, and no one should feel attacked and all of that. And so, yeah, I think the referee handled this situation perfectly. Not much else really to say.
So do you think there has to be any further investigations into who was making the chants, and should they be banned from stadiums?
Yes.
What do you think? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that can possibly be done to figure out where the source came from and to get that out of the stadium and ban them and punish them needs to be done. I mean, it's just as simple as that. It can't be tolerated.
Okay. Matt, any thoughts there?
Yeah. I think Chelsea did that last year or 2 years ago when they had an incident like that.
Well, they just had it again with Tammy Abraham was abused for missing a penalty, and they did the same thing.
Just insane.
Yeah. So, I think they do have to be banned from the stadium. I'm not sure. Is it a lifetime ban? I don't know. Probably.
The Tammy Abraham thing was racial, and I think that they either implemented it or are going to implement it. With this one, I think it's a little bit tougher because I don't know if you can pinpoint one specific person. So you need to come up with some sort of penalty to penalize the fans and have them almost police themselves. And so whether that's fining the fan group, whether that's banning them for games or things like that, or breaking them up, I think you need to figure out some way to have the fans have punishment and have them kind of start to police themselves. I think that's really how you start to root this out.
Yeah, I agree. I think something has to be done. I think that's a good suggestion, Dave. So maybe you should be on the board.
Oh my goodness. I just got good suggestions, good feedback, left and right here, guys. I'm just crushing it today.
This is Dave's day.
Yeah.
He's really crushing it.
Hey, you know what it is?
It's the Jeff Cap.
It's the Jeff Cap.
It's the Jeff Cap Bros Talking Soccer shirt combination. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Two of you are just killing it today.
We're just crushing it.
All right. So anything else you want to add on this topic before we move on?
No, I'm good.
All right. So final topic I want to discuss here is Bayern Munich's transfer policies. They have done a really good job of either signing players on for a low fee, or they sign people on loan that are pretty big names, such as James and Coutinho in recent years. Matt, I'll start with you. What do you think about this strategy that they're taking, and why are other teams not mimicking it if you think it is a good one?
Well, I think for them it's just easier to draw that talent and be able to get them on loan because like Coutinho said no to a couple places. I think he said no to PSG. To be part of that Neymar deal, and the player has to agree to go into a place in Bayern, just like the talent they have, the class of the club, just like where they've been throughout like history, how good they've been. I think it's just easy for them to get that talent, and they're able to afford the wages of these players, whereas a lot of smaller clubs wouldn't be able to afford it. And, just having the dominance in Germany already, if you're German or you play in the Bundesliga, there's a good chance you want to end up on Bayern or take on that challenge. I'm not saying everyone does it because, the stories with, Royce or, there's other players. Aubameyang went out of the league, but I guess he's not really a Bundesliga. He came from France.
Yeah, he's also not German.
Yeah.
Like that through Bundesliga. So,
got it.
I just think it's just easier for them.
All right, Dave, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think that their reputation is higher than clubs like PSG, which would be the other kind of comparable one. And they're similar to Juve. So Juve does things like this where they sign players on transfer. They seem to figure out ways to get players on 3-year loan deals and things like that, just crazy stuff like that. I think it's smart business sense, and they're definitely aided by the fact that they're probably the biggest club in Germany. Not probably. They're the biggest club in Germany, most successful. Munich's an awesome city. And so all of those things really, really help them out. So, it makes sense here, and why not do this? There's also a sense of practicality that comes with just being German. And I think other countries and cultures, sometimes they want to be flashy, or they just maybe either overthink things, or they want to be a little bit more grandiose. And Germans, quite frankly, are just, all right, let's do this because it's going to get us X and Y, and there's certain elements of that. So maybe it's a cultural thing as well.
All right, that makes sense. I don't understand personally how they're able to do it, because if I am an opposition like Barcelona or Real Madrid, who have been loading them players, or Juventus, you're playing them in the Champions League pretty much every single year. Why are you strengthening that team? We've seen it in the past that they don't have the rules in place where you can't play against your parent club. I think we've seen it with Kingsley Coman. I'm shocked that they're able to bring these top stars in to an opposition in the Champions League, which is deemed the highest level of competition and the trophy everybody wants to win the most every year, it seems like. So why would you be willing to give up your players to them? And how is Bayern able to convince them, yeah, you should do that? Matt, I'll go to you first.
Well, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think if you're getting rid of a player, you kind of don't want them, and you're not like you're trying to ruin their career. You still want them to play on like good teams, and I don't think in their minds they're strengthening the opposition. They just have no need for that player where they think they're going to strengthen. I don't think it's anything. Yeah, I just think it's business and it makes sense.
All right, Dave.
I agree. The only other thing I'd tack on there is that in soccer, unlike American sports, like the athlete needs to agree to the move as well. In America, you can just trade someone and against their will, and they kind of have to move unless they have a no trade clause. In soccer, the player needs to agree to join the club. And so there's not many players of a seriously high quality that are willing to leave a Barcelona or something like that and go down the pyramid. And so Bayern is one of those other clubs where, they might be willing to do it. So I think there's also a benefit of Bayern having a higher status that helps all of this too.
Okay. I guess I can see that. Do you think that's the right move for
You sound so excited to agree.
Do you think that this is the right move for Coutinho specifically, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's going to another elite team in Europe. I think he's in a position to have success at Bayern and just have their dominance. It's just going to be an easy transition, I feel like. Whereas if he was going to come to the Premier League again, I think his expectations would be crazy high, even though he never really won a Premier League. It's just, you left Liverpool as the best player. Why aren't you the best player in the Premier League now, where he was like probably a top 3 player at the time he left. So I think just the expectations would be ridiculous, whereas at Bayern, he can be in a rotation and like perform well, and he'll be fine.
You don't think he'll have that expectation that James had when he went there? Like, do you think James?
I mean, he played well there.
What?
And he played well there. They won a trophy every year he was there. I mean, like, it's just ridiculous how many, like, the expectation for these top clubs now. Like, if you don't win a Champions League, it wasn't a good year. Like, the hell does that mean? One team wins it.
Yeah,
I think he played well.
Yeah, I mean, that is the pressure now that pretty much all the elite teams are under, because the Spanish clubs have won so many recently. So, and I think that everyone else is just sick of it. And you're seeing a transition now. Dave, any thoughts on all the things that we just discussed?
And another aspect I'd add is that Coutinho did not do well when he was tried to be played as a winger at Barcelona. So if he can function as a creative attacking center midfielder / second striker at Bayern, I think he'll be successful. But if they try to force him to be something that he's not, I mean, he could potentially be a similar situation as Barcelona. So I'm hopeful. I like him as a player, even though he left Liverpool. I still, have respect for him, and hopefully he can get his career back on track. And he functions best as that center attacking midfielder / second striker. So hopefully Bayern uses him in that role.
And last thing, Matt, what do you think went wrong for Coutinho's career at Barcelona specifically?
I don't know what went wrong. I just think it's tough if you're not performing immediately to kind of fit into that system where they have so many top quality talents. I got a preview of Dave's hat.
I saw it too.
The next one, but I'm trying to think of what I just don't think he really settled in and got the position he was kind of used to, and just like that team relying on Messi, it's hard when you're the main go-to guy to then be, kind of just like a role player.
All right, Dave, any thoughts?
So I didn't see him play a ton, but my understanding was oftentimes he was played as a winger at Barcelona, and that's kind of what I was talking about before, and that's not his strong suit. That's not where he functions best. And so my thought is that he was played out of position at Barcelona, and that's why he wasn't successful. So I don't know if that's a fact because I didn't watch enough of him, but from what I've heard and, on different podcasts and or seen of highlights, seems to be the case. But Christian, you probably watched him more than us. Why do you think he wasn't successful?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of what you just said with him being played out of position. And also I think he came in with that huge fee and just it's a lot of pressure to live up to. And I was reading a lot of articles about this, and people are saying he's finally escaping Messi. The pressure of Messi is too much. I don't think that's specifically what it is. I think it's the pressure he put on himself of joining that team. He thought he was going to be their elite midfielder and then was pretty much put on the wing for every game he played in. There's so much quality in that team already, and they keep bringing in more center midfielders. So, I think he just is getting pushed out because, one, they need to get his wage off the books right now, and hopefully we'll be bringing in the money from Bayern, I think, in their deal to buy next summer. And they are trying to free up room for Neymar, in my opinion, if he's actually going to come this year.
Yeah, and so that actually touches on something that I just remembered. So Tim Vickery on the World Football Phone-In has talked about this numerous times when people have asked about Felipe Coutinho, and he's apparently a pretty shy person and not like supremely self-confident. And so he kind of flamed out at Inter, where he had a lot of expectations. He was under a lot of pressure. Liverpool bought him under, for like £10 million. It was, what's that?
8.5 million.
Yeah, exactly. And so he didn't have a lot of pressure. And so he was able to flourish in that system and he was given a lot of confidence. And then when he went to Barcelona, he had a lot more of those expectations and they're very quick to judge in Barcelona. And I think that he didn't hit the ground running and he wasn't built up. And that also kind of contributes here. So if, he can get that confidence back at Bayern, I think he'll flourish again. But it could be a situation where he's kind of lost it. And I don't know if we'll see the same player. So that's something to keep an eye on.
All right, great. Matt, anything else you'd add? No? Nope. All right, Dave?
Nope.
All right, well, that'll wrap up Christian's Corner. I hope you enjoyed. We got a lot covered in this about 20-minute segment we had here. And we'll be back with Dave's Domestic Dive right after this.
Everybody on the train, all aboard, you snooze, you lose.
Buy my loot boxes.
Not you! Get off the train. Don't let him on.
Oh, okay.
All right, listen here, Greenhorn. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about how to conduct a podcast. First thing you need to know is never stay on topic, ever.
Sir?
What do you want?
People are complaining about the Venom movie still.
I don't care. Feed them Justice League or something. Get them off my back.
Copy.
But, sir, it says in the book that you need to stay on topic as a podcast.
Screw the book, Greenhorn. The book was written by dinosaurs. Second thing you need to know is never report news that's not at least 2 or 3 weeks old.
Sir?
What do you want?
People are complaining about the Pokemon Go update.
I don't care. Just gag them or something. Shut them up.
On it.
Sir?
What do you want, Greenhorn?
I think the train might be going off the rails.
That's exactly how we run this show. This is the Crazy Train of Thought podcast, brought to you by the Idiot Savants. Find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
www.crazytrainofthought.com.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Dave's Domestic Dive, jumping into things and talking about what's happening in American soccer here. So first up, there was a recent tweet out there that here in Miami, I don't know if you guys saw this picture. I linked to it in our podcast, whatever Google Doc that we keep here. I'm sure both of you clicked on it. But where their stadium is supposed to be and where they're supposed to start playing in 6 months is just a not even grass, just a dirt pile. There's nothing there, and they're supposed to start playing in 6 months. Christian, what do you think about Inter Miami and where they are with their, and to be fair, this is their kind of temporary stadium. This is where their USL team is eventually going to be playing. They are building a new stadium in, I think, in 2 years' time where their team is going to fully play. But what do you think about this situation at Inter Miami?
I think that it's a little rough that they're going all the way out there right now. I'm just a little surprised right now that there's no progress being made when it is very, very close. What are they starting in March next year, right?
Yeah, that's when the league usually starts. I mean,
I guess that they could potentially be delayed on when their first home game will be. I guess that we've seen other teams like that where they don't have a home game until either their second season or midway through their first season. And
we've never seen a team play all away games for an entire season.
It can be a long time. Didn't the Union not play in Talon until the second year?
Yeah, but we played at the Link.
Yeah, they played at the Link. Yeah, right? they played at the Link until June.
Oh,
of their first year.
Was, but
no. Okay, that's what you meant. Okay, they play home games, but just at a different stadium. That's what you meant.
They didn't have their home.
Minnesota did that. Yes.
Yeah. So we've seen. We've seen that happen. Yes, they have home games, but they're not actually played in their stadium. That there is designated for.
Okay, all right, we're on the same page now.
I mean, it's home, but it's not home.
It's the home away from home. I get it. All right, so I don't understand. This team is supposed to be ready to go, and they're not. So I don't know what the next steps are, but they're going to have to get moving quickly. Didn't they? Is it official that they signed Cavani? Because I was hearing rumors recently.
I don't think anything's official. They do have 3 players that they've signed to their team, and they do have a general manager. I don't believe they have a coach yet.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's kind of where they're at right now. Matt, what do you think about Inter Miami's progress, as far as infrastructure is concerned?
Well, at this point, it's not surprising to me, considering everything they've done to this point. It's been a little bit kind of shaky. They got a lot of hype. I mean, just with Beckham, it's supposed to be like this huge hub for soccer in America, and it's just like it doesn't seem like it's going to work out like that based on the first, what's it been, 2 years since they've been announced?
Yeah, well, I mean, Beckham was announced as putting a franchise in Miami. It feels like almost 10 years ago. Like it feels ridiculously long ago. I want to say he was announced before NYCFC started. And so he was announced that he was trying to bring a franchise to Miami. They didn't officially award it until something like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. But since that time, I mean, it seems like the political situation in Miami is just crazy, and that's contributing to all this. But it's ridiculous that their stadium looks the way that it does. Matt, something else?
I still think it's going to be built. I don't doubt that they won't have a place to play. This temporary field, it's not a huge stadium, correct? I think they'll be able to get it done in 6 months.
Yeah, I think so too. We saw with Loudoun United, DC United's USL franchise, they built what do they call, a modular stadium in something like 2 weeks. So it's not crazy, and it's somewhat unsettling to see, but this is going to be for their USL side. I think that the way technology is nowadays with these modular stadiums, they can get something built relatively quickly, but it is somewhat disconcerting to see. So, Christian, any other thoughts to add here?
I don't think so.
Matt?
No.
All right. Next thing we want to talk about, and this is something we should have talked about last week because the quote is about 2 weeks old at this point, but recently Zlatan Ibrahimovic came out and more or less said there's not enough pressure on MLS players because there are playoffs and there's no promotion and relegation. And so basically you don't really need to start caring until kind of the last few games of the season and then into the playoffs. Matt, do you agree with Zlatan here?
To a certain extent. A little bit, but I still think everyone's trying throughout the whole season. Maybe you don't get as upset if you lose early in the season, if things don't go your way, and just pressure at the end of the season, to get a playoff spot, I think is the main pressure. But I still kind of agree with him that in the playoffs, it's more intense. Premier League, I don't think you really ever see people taking days off, and if they do, they get absolutely smashed for it in the press by the team. So I think I do agree with that there's a little bit less pressure.
And that's because of no pro rel?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Christian, do you agree?
I think that there is definitely less pressure than you see in leagues that do have promotion and relegation, and specifically with the teams lower down in the table. In MLS, you really don't see teams caring too much, and they're low in the table. Once they realize that they're out of the playoffs, it's just, okay, whatever, we're out of the playoffs. And that's a little disheartening. Plus, I feel like a lot of teams, even the teams that are fighting for playoffs, they rotate their lineups when they go on the road a lot. And I know that it's a different environment and the trips are longer, but it just blows my mind that happens as frequently as it does. You don't really see their top 11 for all 34 games, which you do for the majority, I would say, for the big teams around. Yeah, there's some rotation, but I would say the majority of the team is the starters from week to week. So specifically, again, with the lower level teams, because they don't have Europe over there, because they're out of the cups usually earlier, you see the same 11 almost every single week because they have a week in between. It's just surprising to me that he would say that because there is no promotion and relegation, but maybe that's what he's going for. He's hoping that it is introduced. Definitely less pressure, or definitely more pressure in leagues that have promotion and relegation overall.
Yeah. So I would agree for the most part. I think that there is a slightly different element where MLS, the pressure is more around the playoff line. So you're talking more mid-table pressure, whereas in other leagues, the pressure seems to be more on bottom of the table.
And top.
And top, obviously the top is the same with both leagues, but the pressure is just changed ever so slightly. Obviously with relegation, there's so much more on the line. You have entire communities sometimes that are impacted by a relegation, an entire club, jobs are lost and all of that. Having said that, MLS players that are on lower level teams, the teams that finish low, I mean, it is very tough once you leave MLS. So those players might not be renewed because they're still fighting for jobs. And so I think that they're still trying, even though they're on a crappy team in the league. I wouldn't say that there's no pressure on them because they still need to perform each week for them as an individual to continue their career. Because once they drop out of MLS and they go to USL, not very often do you see players bounce back up to an MLS roster. And so I agree with what he's saying, specifically on the team and what you feel from a community perspective, but I still think players feel that pressure when they're not performing and the team isn't performing. So, Matt, anything to add, on that point?
Yeah, I think I agree with you with that, but I was just thinking, why doesn't MLS kind of pick up players from USL more often? Because it would put a lot more pressure on the players, you know what I mean, to perform if there was an actual chance of, being brought up.
We're getting into U.S. soccer politics because if they start doing things like that, then it opens up where MLS doesn't like to pay transfer fees to USL. And it's just a giant clusterfuck, for lack of a better term. And it's so frustrating as an American fan, where we should be so integrated between our leagues. And there is so much emphasis on not interacting, and it really hurts our development overall. And so they should do that, but because they have ulterior motives, or not even ulterior motives, they just have business things that they're trying to do, and they don't want to open up an avenue where they're going to have to start paying USL transfer fees. I think that's a lot of times what it comes back to. So it's very frustrating. Christian, you have any thoughts on this?
I would just say that the pressure that they're feeling, it's different. It's a different kind of pressure altogether.
Yep.
And we're probably not going to see promotion and relegation. The biggest thing I would say that's different is the club pressure in the relegation versus, I would say, individual players' pressure in MLS. That's the biggest difference.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and that's kind of what I was trying to get at. Matt, anything else?
More on the managers than actual players.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've already seen, I think, 4 managers fired in MLS this year. So they definitely feel the pressure. I would say players feel the pressure differently, and exactly as Christian articulated. Matt, anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Christian? Okay, we're a podcast, so nodding and shaking heads.
No.
Okay, you don't need to yell either. Last thing we wanted to talk about here, Earnie Stewart recently got a promotion. So this kind of came in line with Kate McGrath getting the female or the U.S. women's GM position. And then Earnie Stewart, who used to have the men's GM position, has been promoted to sort of like soccer czar. I don't remember his exact title, but he is overseeing all of U.S. soccer, men and women, youth, whatever, anything you could think of, he's in charge of. Christian, what do you think about U.S. soccer implementing this structure of having Stewart as basically the soccer guy on top of everything, and then having the women's GM and the men's GM report into him, and then sort of sprouting everything out down below? What do you make of that structure?
I don't know how I feel about having it separate like that. Like, obviously the women's game and the men's game are completely separate. I'm trying to understand how this really works? Like, is it like those two positions underneath of him are completely like focused, separate, like don't interact really with each other?
Matthew, you have something to say?
Well, isn't this like bringing it together, kind of having one person, like he's the head guy and he's in charge?
So wait, they never really interacted before?
This never existed. The structure never existed. There was never a women's general manager. The head coach of each national team reported into U.S. Soccer president and the U.S. Soccer CEO. So there was never a soccer element of the entire, organization hierarchy.
Got it. Okay. Well, I didn't understand that, so that's good to know. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense now. It is definitely a step in the right direction, just having somebody on top who understands the game. Yeah, he's more on the men's side because he has experience with that, but having a female GM report into him and give him all the information will allow him to just have a more holistic understanding of all the issues that are really going on in U.S. soccer on both sides, and he'll try and problem solve. They'll have more interactions together, the men's and the women's sides, and I think that's huge for taking steps forward.
Okay. Matt, I want to get your thoughts here. What do you think about the structure?
Yeah, I think it's, a good thing. It seems like it's a step into kind of integrating them both, with them both reporting to Earnie Stewart. And I'm surprised this wasn't one of Dave's topics, but I think I saw earlier this week that the women's national team, the equal pay talks broke down.
Yeah.
Which I didn't look into why exactly, but I assume whenever the next CBA is coming up, it's going to be, I guess, Earnie Stewart will look at it, and I don't know if he's going to necessarily decide it. Is it him, or is the women's GM, or is it going to be this?
I think all of them would be involved. I would imagine the U.S. women's GM, the Earnie Stewart, as well as U.S. Soccer president and U.S. Soccer CEO.
Yeah, so I just think this is a step to kind of make it more fair. I didn't know exactly. I know we've talked about this probably in the last couple of weeks, but I didn't know what exactly stopped the talks.
Yeah, the only, I guess, counterpoint or just question I wanted to ask you guys is, do you need a person sitting on top, or can you just have a U.S. women's GM, a U.S. men's GM, and have them report into Carlos Cordero and U.S. Soccer president? Do you need a soccer guy sitting on top of that to be in charge of the whole thing? Christian, what do you think about that?
I don't think you need it, but I think it helps. I think that person will be able to, before it gets to the president, who I think has other things to worry about.
Yep.
He's got everything under him. So having somebody else just understand the soccer side of it and comparing the notes between the women's and the men's is great, just to have both sides in one brain, really.
Matt, what about you?
I don't know if I necessarily know like the need for this position. Like, what is the president and CEO's responsibilities if he's just taking over all of soccer? Are they just business kind of minds?
Yeah, like I can't for the life of me understand why we need a president when the CEO is basically in charge of business. Theoretically, the president I would have thought would have been more of a soccer guy. With Sunil Gulati and Carlos Cordero, they have definitely been more on the business side. So I don't fully understand the president's role outside of the CEO seems to be an appointed position, whereas the president is an elected position. But as far as their responsibilities, I mean, I can't for the life of me figure out why we need a president and a CEO. And then we just implemented a soccer guy, which I think is a smart decision. Carlos Cordero has been upfront that he does not know soccer very well. And so I think it's smart to have Earnie Stewart sitting on top of the organization, or just someone sitting on top of the organization. So that's where I stand. Christian, you have something to add?
Is the position actually called soccer guy?
No.
Stewart is a certified soccer guy.
I feel like that is definitely the name they should go with. This is soccer guy.
Yep. Matthew, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, David, can you please mute your mic when you're tapping away over there?
Well, I'm trying to figure out his exact title here because you guys are giving me name is Margaret, U.S. Soccer advice to role of sporting director. So Earnie Stewart his official title is U.S. Soccer sporting director, and he sits on top of the women's and the men's organization who have a general manager of each team. So that is what is happening as far as organizational structure. Christian, anything else you would like to add?
Not a big fan of that name.
Sporting director?
Yeah.
Okay. You like soccer czar better?
Soccer guy.
Soccer guy? What?
I like soccer guy.
All right, Matthew, anything else you want to add?
No.
All right, let's get to a couple listener questions. So first one comes to us from Sal, who's watching live on YouTube. Sal, thank you for this. Does the look of Houston getting almost no fans like Chivas USA look bad for the league? Would it be better for them to fold and let a USL side in Texas come up? Matthew, you're kind of boots on the ground in Houston. What do you think about that concept? Is it a bad look for Houston?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is. If they made the stadium indoors like the rest of the stadiums in Houston, I think more people would go. It is hot as hell here in summer. Nobody really wants to go to those games. I've had like friends suggest it. Like, oh yeah, let's go to the games, and they're pretty cheap tickets. They have $7 ticket, $3 beer, $1 hot dog night, which is like,
oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, you could have a great time there, but I don't know, like. People are just like, no, it's fucking hot tonight. We're not going. So I think if they made the stadium, indoors, it would have been better, but it's not a good look.
So they should have spent $500 to $1 billion to make it indoors.
Well, they built the stadium. Like the rest of the stadiums in Houston are all indoors.
All right. Fair enough.
Anywhere from $500 to $1 billion.
$500.
$500 million. Did I say 500? I meant $500 million. Christian, what do you think about that, though? Should Houston be folded?
I don't think they should fold yet. I think that they have to do something more to. Yeah, I agree with Matt. They should have a stadium that's indoor, but I mean, that's obviously a huge investment that they're not going to do right now because no one's showing up and they have no money coming in. But FC Dallas, are they indoors?
No,
but they get people coming to their games, right?
Not really. No.
Well, obviously that's a sign of the culture there, and it's too freaking hot. So maybe they got to do something about that.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a sign of the culture.
Turn down the heat.
Turn it down. Yeah, I don't know if it's a sign of the culture because both those areas are enormously popular with soccer. Okay. Soccer is enormously popular there.
Yeah, that was not the right vocabulary I was using there. It's not the culture that people don't support soccer. It's that they don't want to go to the games because of the weather outside. Like that is the culture of the area. You guys don't want to be outside because it's like impossible to breathe.
Yeah, and also I think that they could do a better job of engaging with the community and feeling more like a club versus a franchise, and both the organizations can do that. Houston makes no sense to me because Houston has a downtown stadium. Dallas at least has the excuse that they're located very far outside of the city, and that kind of makes sense. Houston should be they should be filling out that stadium every time. I mean,
it's a super stadium in like a great area. It's right by the Toyota Center and the Minute Maid Park.
Yeah, I've been there. I went to a Union game there years ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago, and it was fantastic. There's bars everywhere. It was a great experience. And I guess it's the heat, really. I do not think they should be folded, though, because Houston is an enormous market for MLS. And if they got better ownership and or engaged with the community better, I think that would be very successful. Matthew, something else to add?
Yeah, I love how you mentioned the bars. I can't wait for you guys to come to Houston. Literally every third building is a bar in the city. It is incredible.
All right. We're going to be having some fun when we visit. Christian, anything else to add?
In the fall or in early spring, do they have more people showing up for the games? Do you know?
I don't know.
If playoffs rolled around, would that stadium fill out in October?
I would think so if they were good, but they're most likely going to miss the playoffs.
Well, yeah, I understand that. I was just wondering if it's not unbearably hot, do the fans actually show up?
Well, I think a lot of teams in MLS have that issue. I mean, the Union, they don't really have an excuse. I mean, it's cold there during parts of the season or it's raining, but we're good now, but we didn't fill up for the last couple of years until we were good.
I think winning solves a lot, Matt, and you're hitting the nail on the head there too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, say it.
Matt said we about the Union.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to support them.
I want to so bad.
I want to, but oh my God.
Yeah, the game against Chicago was not fun. That was a tough one. But overall, they've been pretty good this year. Let's not rehash that. Sal, just real quick on that question. The Open Cup final I don't think that's a good indicator because it's a midweek game. Very little promotion is done around it. The Union were in the final twice. It doesn't really sell out. You get the hardcore supporters there. And so the fact that they weren't able to sell out the Open Cup final, they had 2 home games, Christian. That's why I said twice. So I wouldn't hold that against them. Those games generally don't sell well. But all these other issues, I mean, they had a really fun, exciting team over the last few years and they haven't been drawing. I think that's more of an indication of they need to change things up on the business side of things. And also on the academy side of things, that area is way too talented to not have any homegrowns coming through. So those would be my 2 points on Houston. Keeping this thing moving along. Next question comes to us from Soccer Noob on our Slack channel. So it's a 2-part question. Where do you think Bayern and Dortmund would finish in the EPL? So first off, Christian, where do you think they'd finish?
I feel like I already answered this question.
You answered it on Slack, but
yeah,
podcast
I think
listeners.
Bayern would probably finish third if I had to guess, and I think Dortmund would probably finish fifth.
Okay. Matt, what about you?
So I know they were really close last year. I don't know how strong or what Dortmund did in the offseason. I know they got Hummels back.
They got a lot of people.
They got Brandt and
Hazard.
Yeah.
So I assume they're going to be good again this year. If I'm just going off last year, just kind of what I generally know about them, I think they both could finish top 4. I mean, I still think they're probably better than both of them. I think are better than Tottenham. Didn't Dortmund play Tottenham?
Yeah, and they got
Tottenham won.
Did they?
Well, Tottenham advanced.
Tottenham was in the final of the Champions League.
Yeah, but they didn't win their group.
Yeah,
No.
but they played in the round of 16.
Did they?
Yep.
I don't know if they played in the round of 16. Weren't they in the same group?
They were
Okay. All right.
All right.
Well,
I mean,
so
beat somebody in the Champions League. That's one freaking game.
It's 2 games.
It's over 2 games, but it's one matchup. It's like not that. It's not that big.
It's kind of like the league if you think about it. It's like home and away.
okay. So you would say you would finish. They would finish 4th, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I agree with Christian. I think Bayern would finish 3rd behind City and Liverpool. And I think Tottenham is better than Dortmund in the long run. And Dortmund ends up finishing 5th. So that's where I have it. Last thing, if a league is merged, how many German teams overall would finish in the top half of the table? So Matthew, do you understand the question? So
yeah, I would say the 2 we just said, RB Leipzig, and that might be it in top half because there's only 10. I might say those 3 are the only ones that are guaranteed, and then there's some question marks.
Christian, what about you?
I legitimately think it would be the 2. I really don't know if RB Leipzig has the tools right now to finish above. I mean, they got top 6, so there's only 2 positions left. They might finish in 9th or 10th, but I really am not too confident in that right now. I don't think they're as strong as they were a few years ago, and I mean, they're good, but I think that other teams could give them a run for their money with Leicester, Everton, and Wolves there.
I mean, I think Chelsea and United aren't anything to write home about. And so I don't know if you can just guarantee all of them would finish top 6 in general. So I think Leipzig is probably better than at least one of them. So I would put them 3rd. And then you might have one of the teams like a Leverkusen or Frankfurt. I don't know, with them losing some players. If they could creep up there, but I would say 3, and it might be like 3.5. There might be one team that can get up there, but I think it's probably 3. So I agree with Matt. Okay. Anything else to add, guys? Okay, it's vote. All right. Nope. Okay. Last question. So Drew Deal again on Slack sent us the Bury situation. So I don't know if you guys are following this whole thing. But Christian, do you know what's happening with Bury? They have been basically in financial freefall over the last few years. We'll link to the article from 442, but a fan basically wrote an op-ed piece explaining kind of what has happened over the last few years. And they have this new owner who's there, and he basically doesn't have enough money to run the club, and he hasn't been paying the players, and the club has just been deteriorating. They're supposed to be in League One. They were supposed to have matches start. Their first 4 games have been suspended because they haven't been paying the players, and the financial situation is so bad, and it's looking like the club may go into bankruptcy and may fold completely. The whole, I guess, overarching thing on all of this is that the owner bought the club mid-season, and typically when an ownership change happens, the Football League does an evaluation of the new owner to make sure that they can pay the bills. But because it happened mid-season, they for some reason don't do a proper evaluation, which doesn't make any sense to me, and that seems to be a huge cause of a lot of these issues. So, Matthew, what do you think about this?
Do you guys want to go buy a team in January? But yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous that they don't do a proper evaluation. And is this the team? I saw some story about a team that's going like in bankruptcy. They were playing like mainly academy people.
No, that's a different one. So that was, I think, either Bolton. I think that was Bolton.
Yeah, Bolton. Yeah. But it was like they had like 2 or 3 senior players and then a bunch of like 16, 17, 18-year-olds playing. And they got like a 0-0 draw.
So who bears responsibility for this? Is it the previous owner for selling to this guy? Is it the current owner? Is it the league? Who do you fault for this situation, Matt?
The owner in the league. I mean, the last owner, I think he was just trying to get out while he still could. I don't think he deserves any of the blame. If you can't pay the players, like I don't understand how he just got in this position. I don't know if
his company went bankrupt. So there's another piece of this where I think his company is having a lot of financial issues, and that's why he can't pay the club. But so
he's forced to sell them then, like sell the club.
Yeah, and for some reason I guess they've made offers, but they haven't been good enough for him, so he has rejected them. So that's kind of the situation. Christian, what do you think about all this? Who's at fault for this whole situation?
I feel like it has to be the current owner. I think some of it is on the previous owner, but most of it is on the current owner. His business is failing. He's unable to provide the investment. He should be selling the club at this point. And even if it's selling it for less, you got to bring some revenue in. So it would be beneficial to him to sell, and it will be beneficial for the club to stay alive by having someone come in and invest.
Does he have any responsibility to the fans, or is he, because he's the owner, he can do whatever he wants with the club? What do you think about that?
He can, but he should feel some obligation to the fans. That's really the culture that's happening over there from the majority of the time, I feel like.
But the way that the Football League kind of has their ownership structure, I mean, the owner owns the club. He can do whatever he wants with it.
But that's what I'm saying. He can.
So does the Football League need to change their rules?
No, I don't think they should. I think that it makes sense. It's been historically run that way, and this has only happened a couple of times. And yeah, I feel like it's more recently just, I guess, brought into our attention. But I have no problem with the way it's run from the majority of the teams. I think that the ownership is making the mistakes, and it's running the teams into the ground, and that can happen in any capacity.
But then that impacts the club, which is a community kind of thing. It's just a sad situation overall. And I do like the way that Germany has it, where, I mean, the clubs are true clubs and they're owned by members and things like that. And they have a law regarding all of that. And so, I don't know if you can enforce something like that, but it is, there's no perfect ownership structure. There's pros and cons with everything. And it's just really unfortunate, this whole situation. Matt, anything else you want to
add? No.
Christian, you want to recap our trivia question?
I would love to. The trivia question this week was, how many goals and assists combined does Mohamed Salah have for Liverpool in his 108 appearances? Dave, would you like to go first, or would you like Matt to go first?
I would love to go first, Christian. I'm going to say 83.
83, okay. Thanks for your guess.
Thank you.
Matthew,
thanking me.
What guess would you have?
So this is all competitions, right?
All competitions.
So, wait, was last year his first year?
No.
All
right, so I'm just stupid. Okay, so
true.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say 98.
Wow, very high. But funnily enough, not high enough.
I thought 106.
103 goals and assists in his 108 games.
I know he scored a lot. I didn't think he's assisted that many.
Well,
Do you have the breakdown?
I mean, I don't have it on me right now, but I can get that for you in just a moment.
No, so my logic was, I think he scored somewhere in the 60s. But maybe he scored more than that.
He scored in the 70s already.
Okay, so I thought he was in the 60s, and then I thought maybe he had 15 to 20 assists. So that was my logic. Matt, do you have any logic you want to share while Christian is looking up the info?
Well, thanks. I tend to think I'm a very logical person, so I know he put up 30, whatever, like mid to high 30s, and the previous year, then put up 22 just in the league. I figured he scored in other competitions, so I was like, he's got to have like around 80 something goals, and I was thinking, probably around 100.
All right, fair enough. Christian, do you have the information?
Just a moment. You can keep going.
Okay, so listeners, we'll come back to that. Thank you so much for listening here. If you liked what you heard, please consider leaving us a review on iTunes. 5 stars and a written review helps us out so much. It only takes a couple seconds, and we would really, really appreciate that. Matthew, can you tell people about our website?
Our website is www.brostalkingsoccer.com. There, you can read about how entertaining we used to be in our past lives, with a little bio about us. You can find past episodes, links to our YouTube channel. There's also a store link, Amazon store link, and also our merchandise store link where you can buy cool shirts and things like that. Fun shirts.
Like we're wearing right now.
Can you buy any stickers on the website or no?
No, if you want stickers, though, send us an email. I would be happy to send them to you, or not an email or tweet. These are what they look like if you're watching on YouTube, and I would be happy to send you a couple. So,
okay.
Yeah, hit us up.
Yeah, so with that Amazon store link I was discussing earlier, no additional cost to you. You just click that link through the website, do your regular Amazon shopping, maybe like one extra step, and it really helps support the show. You can also buy us a shot, or buy us a coffee, buy us a shot, however you want to say it, $3. If you have just any spare change, sir, please, really help support the show.
Or ma'am, who's ever watching, that would really help us out. Christian, have you found the information yet?
No, but I'm close.
Okay. So also, I do a couple other projects in addition to this podcast. I have a fantasy soccer startup thing that I am working on. I've been working on for quite some time. We're at kind of a point where I'm really truly looking for a partner who has some technical skills, specifically in mobile app development. So if you're a soccer fan and either you personally or someone who happens to have some skills in mobile app development, I would love to have a conversation with you about, joining the project and becoming a true partner. And so please reach out. Our Twitter's at BTSoccerPod or our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. Please reach out. Make sure you're following us on there. Again, at BT Soccer Pod is where we're posting all of our content. So we do, in addition to this, we have some quick kick picks videos where we are previewing what's happening in MLS and the Premier League about a few hours before the matches happen. So make sure to check all of them out and follow us on there. Christian, do you have the information?
No.
Okay. Okay. Can you not find it at all, or are you still looking?
I have it, but it's really annoying, and I have to go by season, and it takes a while to read.
Okay, all right. So, can you tell people about our Slack channel?
I would love to. So, Slack channel, if you want to get involved, first of all, email us at bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com or tweet at us at BTSoccerPod, and we would love to have you in there. So, what Slack is it a community of our listeners and other people who just love to talk to us about all different types of soccer things. So it's a big chat room where you're talking about all these different channels, which each channel is a different topic, such as the top 5 European leagues are in there. We've got MLS, Ligue MX, international soccer, and we got some transfer rumors in there, and then a general category where you could just talk to us about anything you would love to in your life or anyone else's life. So if you want to get involved, again, reach out to us, bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com or BTSoccerPod on Twitter.
All right. So thank you for that. And yeah, I'm at the same point. So follow us on Twitter and we'll tweet out the Mo Salah stats. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Guys and girls, thank you so much. I was going to say gals, and then I went with girls.
Girls.
Men and women, thank you so much for watching. Christian, any final words?
Let's go get some matches.
That's your quick kick picks thing. Hope you've enjoyed watching this YouTube video. We've been rocking various hats throughout and our Bros Talking Soccer t-shirts. Matthew, final words for the listeners?
Thanks for listening, girls and guys.
All right, everyone. Truly, thank you so much. We always appreciate it. I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Again, we're taking a break from our interviews, and so check out our Quick Kick Picks videos, and we'll be back with another podcast next Sunday. Have a great week, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. See ya. You look ridiculous with that hat, but we're going to roll with it.
Just wait for the next 2 sections.
All right, let's get into it, guys. Are we ready to get going?
No.
Oh.
Oh.
What we got? Oh, Jeff Cap.
Yeah.
Jeff
Buffalo.
Cap. Oh.
No.
Should I get my... Jeff Cap.
Yes. You see how he ran out?
Oh, and I got another hat coming later, too, guys. Get excited.
While you ran today, we were talking about how you ran like...
I'm like a cartoon cat. All right, you guys want to...
Yeah, that's your mischievous walk.
I don't have a hat.
Well, that seems like a you problem. I like how Christian now feels pressured to go get a hat.
I do. I don't know. I don't have a hat.
What in the world is that?
I think that's a bag. That is 1,000% a bag.
Oh, it's a citrus bag.
Why does that fit your head?
You look like you're wearing a traffic cone. No. He should stay. Well, he's already gone, Sal. Yeah, we agreed that he should have stayed, but it's too late now. And now we're getting the echo back, which is just super fantastic.
I just take screenshots of articles I read.
Oh, wow.
Fancy.
Sort of literature.
All right, we're going exploring. We're going exploring here. Hun, how do I look? Too sexy?
Take off your shirt. He's too sexy for his shirt. Why don't you go ahead and pop that shirt off?
Why don't you pop that right
Oh,
off?
I should have popped my shirt off. All right. We're ready to... You're saying no, but your eyes are saying yes.
Body.
My body's telling me yes.